We begin in the dead of winter on December 29th, 1993, along the icy shores of the Clark Fork River in Missoula, Montana. As Bonnie Dalton was taking her young dog, El Camino, for a walk, some of the footage in this story was taped as the events unfolded.
Come here, El Camino. Oh. El Camino's a pretty hyper dog. He likes to get out and run and jump and play catch.
Give it to me, now.
I took him out so he could do his thing, and he just was being himself, you know, ignoring his master.
Bring it here, boy. Good boy. Ready? Come on. Come here now! Get back from the ice!
I kept calling for him like 3 times. He didn't listen to me.
Come back on, boy! Come on, boy. Come on. Come on. Come on, boy. Come here, boy. El Camino! Stay away from the ice!
And then he went out to get a drink. It was very cold, like ice water in a freezer.
The dog couldn't go anywhere. It was just trying to stay alive. Every time it would go under, I thought that was the last time, and it was over.
When 11-month-old El Camino fell through the ice along the side of the Clark Fork River, Bonnie Dalton could only watch in horror as her dog struggled in the sub-freezing waters.
911, what do you report?
Yes, we have a dog in the river.
Okay, where is it?
13 East Broadway. And it's my friend's dog.
Is it under the ice or above?
It's in the middle of the river.
Within 4 minutes of the call, Missoula police officer Jim Pontrelli arrived at the scene.
The owner of the dog was almost hysterical.
I said, we gotta get my dog out of there. I can't just watch him die.
She kind of wanted to go in the water, and that was not an option. She wouldn't have lasted. It was that cold. But on the other side of the river, there was less of an ice jam near the bank. The ice probably extended out 10 feet instead of 150 feet. So I figured if we could try to coax the dog to the other shore, we'd have a good chance of just reaching out and picking it up.
He kept floating down. I kept running after him, calling him.
Come on. Come here, boy!
An ice jam held it out in the middle of the water, so the dog couldn't go anywhere. It was just trying to stay alive, and its mouth would keep appearing out of the water. Every time it would go under, I thought that was the last time, and it was over. But it kept fighting.
Come on!
Within 10 minutes, Animal Control Officer Benita Jacobson arrived.
The dog was in the center of the river and trying to swim out of the current. We were on the bank trying to get the dog to come into the current where it would possibly get swept past us and maybe somebody would be able to pull him out of the river. It was kind of a mortifying feeling that this dog was out there and you could do absolutely nothing to get it to shore.
There was no other option except to watch the dog die.
Missoula rural firefighter Tom Ziegler was off duty when he heard what had happened.
Julie.
Hi, Julie. It's Papa Rural Fire. Did you get that dog out of the river yet?
No, he's not out yet. I think he's floating on a piece of ice.
He is? Okay, well...
I have some specialized training and some equipment that allows us to enter cold water, so I left to respond down there and see if I could offer some assistance. I can't watch anybody die, whether it's an animal or a person, and this animal was dying.
The dog was just starting to get real worn out when Tom pulled up. And he got out of his truck and he had these fins in his hand, and I just said, what are you gonna do?
You need me to do anything?
Ambulance would be nice in case something happens.
Okay. I knew he had training and I knew he had the protective equipment. If it would have been anybody else, I wouldn't have allowed him to do it.
207, we have a diver going in a protective suit. You copy?
But I told him that I thought he was crazy.
Just want to slide down, or what's the program? You want to... It's right there. It's right out there. See it? Can you see it? All right. Go.
Right then, the dog had worn out and couldn't fight it anymore.
The dog was in the water approximately 30 minutes. The water was extremely cold, 27 degrees. It wasn't going to last much longer.
Come on! Come on!
No, get down here! Get down here!
Get him! Look at him! His nose out of the water. Bonnie?
We didn't know what he was sitting there for, because right then the dog had started to flow down the current in front of him, and we realized he couldn't see where the dog was.
Right in front of you! Right in front of you! He's right there!
Tom appeared to be even tired just from this short swim. He was just kind of hanging onto the ice, and he draped the dog on the little extension of ice that was near the bank there.
When I got to the bank and laid the dog down, I really didn't think the dog was going to make it. I've never seen anything this hypothermic and come back.
It was barely moving, barely breathing. His eyes were almost fixed. It appeared like it was almost dead.
I've pulled dogs out of water when they're already dead, but I've never seen a dog pulled out of such freezing water. That dog was just frozen. And I really didn't know how much could that dog really take.
Good push.
I didn't see his eyes move at all. His legs were stiff.
You're gonna have to roll.
Breaths were far apart, real slow and labored. I didn't know if it was going to live to get to the vet, even.
He's awfully stiff, though.
El Camino was taken to the Alpine Veterinary Service and put under the care of Dr. Sarah Stevens.
El Camino wasn't even shivering when he came in, so he was very, very cold.
I want to take his temperature. It's really
The normal dog temperature is 101 to 102 degrees. My thermometer starts at 94. The temperature didn't register. We put him in a warm water bath, and we heated fluids so we could give the dog a warm IV.
We can get him back to the table. We can get the...
While we had El Camino in the bathtub, he began to warm up and he started to shiver, so that was a very good sign.
Well, it's still below 94.
It did alarm me somewhat that his temperature didn't register on the thermometer for 4 hours. But as long as his vital signs improved for the entire 4 hours, I was happy, and I thought that he would recover.
Tom Ziegler was subsequently honored by the Humane Society for his heroism in saving El Camino's life that day.
Tom risked his own life, and I really owe him. El Camino would have died if Tom didn't show up.
Good boy. Good boy.
I felt relieved that I was able to put my training to use. I felt good about that it worked. That's our job. We save lives. And whether it's an animal or a person, we need to be prepared to do whatever it takes. If you're going to be near a situation where an animal can be endangered, you need to keep the animal controlled and on a leash. Do not allow your dogs to walk out onto the ice. There's no reason for anybody to be on it unless it's a designated recreation area.
I love my dog. He's a good family dog. I'm glad El Camino's alive.